day, grade 10s. Today, we will learn about the structure of the periodic table. We know that the elements are arranged in order of atomic number. In this lesson, we will learn more about what different parts of the periodic table are called and where different elements are arranged on the periodic table, and what their positions in the periodic table tell us about the electronic structure of the elements. The first thing we need to do is learn some terminology. The vertical columns in the periodic table are called groups. There are 8 main groups. The first of these groups are group 1 and 2. You will note that in this periodic table, the groups are numbered both from 1 to 18, as well as from 1 to 8. This is older numbering, but it is still useful, and so we will use both ways of numbering. For the moment, we will skip over these middle columns. We will discuss why these are special later. These are groups 3 through to 8, or 13 to 18. Some of these groups have special names. Group 1 elements are called alkali metals. These metals are very reactive and do not occur freely in nature. You will note that even though hydrogen is in group 1, it is not an alkali metal. The second group in the periodic table is the next group to have a special name. The elements in group 2 are called the alkaline earth metals. The alkaline earth metals are also very reactive, but not as reactive as the group 1 elements. They are called the alkaline earth metals as they are all found in the Earth's crust in various compounds. Group 7 elements are called the halogens. The term halogen means salt former. All the halogens form salts when they join with other elements to form compounds. Elements in group 8 are called noble gases. As the name implies, all the elements in group 8 are gases at room temperature. They are also inert. This means that they do not naturally react or bond with other elements. We can further divide the periodic table into metals and nonmetals. Every element to the left of the stepped red line is a metal, while everything to the right of the stepped red line is a nonmetal. You will note in this graphic that hydrogen has been placed in the middle above the periodic table. This is because although hydrogen is placed on top of group 1, it is in fact a nonmetal. Finally, the groups that we skipped over earlier have a special name as well. These elements are called the transition metals. Throughout this lesson, it has been mentioned that the elements are positioned in a very specific way. In fact, in addition to the order of atomic number, the elements are arranged in groups based on their electron configuration. If we start with the hydrogen atom, we know that it has 1 proton. Therefore, it has 1 electron in its outer orbital. If we then move across the periodic table to the right, we get helium. We know from the atomic number that helium has 2 protons. We therefore know that a neutral helium atom has 2 electrons. We know that this means that the outer electron shell for helium, the s orbital, is full. And that is why helium and every other element in group 8 are noble gases. Their outer electron shells are full and therefore they do not usually bond. Now let's look at some of the elements in group 1. You will note that every element in group 1 has only 1 electron in its outer energy shell. Group 2 elements each have 2 electrons in its outer energy level. Now if we look at just the first few elements in the periodic table, you will notice a pattern. You can see that as we move from left to right across the periodic table, that the number of electrons in the outer energy shell of each atom matches the group number. This means that if we know which group an element is in, we know how many electrons are in the outer electron shell. And this is why hydrogen, even though it is not a metal, is placed in group 1. There is another pattern. As we move down the periodic table, you will see that the periodic number matches the number of electron shells the atom has. For example, an element that appears in the 3rd row, that is period 3, is composed of atoms with electrons in the 3rd energy level. So, grade 10s, we have learned a great deal about the structure of the periodic table, as well as why it is laid out as it is. You'll find more information about the structure of the periodic table at www.mindset.co.za/learn. Remember to try some of the questions in the task video too. Goodbye!